Kyle Shanahan with the case of the 49ers quarterbacks. Yesterday, when he finally did show up for his press conference, he was inevitably asked about the quarterback situation. Here he is talking about how things are going at the most important position on any NFL team.
Jimmy got hurt and opened it up for Brock, and Brock played 8 games and won all of them and played at an extremely high level. And we're very excited to have that level of a player as our quarterback. Now, we believe Trey can be that. I think he would have done it last year if he stayed healthy. The good thing for him is with Brock being hurt and stuff, he has an opportunity to try to regain that and everything. And that's also why we brought in Sam, because we can't be set for sure on Brock because you never know how the injury will go. We think it will go well, and we're optimistic about it, but right now that's on hold. And so it opens up an opportunity for Trey and for Sam to come in and show us what they have.
Can a guy like Trey win the job without playing games, whereas Brock, what he did was on the field?
I think it's going to be harder for him, too. I mean, Brock played in 8 games, and, you know, Trey had that job going into last season, and if he would have played 8 games like that, no one else would have been able to come in and beat him out. But with Brock being hurt, it does open him up and does give him a chance.
I feel in a very good situation at quarterback to where we went and drafted a guy that we really wanted, and we don't feel any different about him now than we did 3 years ago when we took him. Just it's been unfortunate hasn't gotten to play. He was going to get a play this year, and I think people were going to be very impressed with him, and so were we. But that, unfortunately, got hurt. Now we sit here, and that opened up opportunities, and we got another guy who can play very well. We brought in Sam Darnold who can play, and I hope all 3 of these guys are with us, and I don't want to lose any of them.
You know, my initial takeaway from that was if Brock Purdy doesn't get injured in the NFC Championship game, it's his job without question. It's not even a competition. The only way
definitely.
And reason it's competition is because Brock Purdy's trying to rehab this elbow now, and it may create an opening, an opportunity for Trey Lance to get onto the field. He's not getting onto the field if Brock Purdy's healthy. No. And I'm not sure Trey Lance is the first guy on the field if Brock Purdy isn't healthy. He's going to have to compete with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, I think between what Shanahan said and didn't say and what John Lynch, the GM of the team, said and didn't say, I think they would entertain an offer for Trey Lance if someone would come along. Now, look, remember, they wanted way too much for Jimmy Garoppolo, and they weren't able to unload him. They may be unrealistic in their demand for a trade for Trey Lance to save some face. I see Jed York, the CEO of the team, saying yesterday he wouldn't change anything, doesn't regret a thing for what they did to get Trey Lance. But still, if they would trade him, I think it's a point you made yesterday.
Yeah, I was saying
it just doesn't look good to hand him away for nothing after you gave up all that to get him. So they may not be able to find a trade partner for him, and he's at a low salary. You keep him around for a couple of years, and then who knows what happens after that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's a smart enough group to go, wait, if we don't see a future and we kind of believe in another guy, and hey, you know, we see the potential in Trey Lance, but man, it's, you know, a little ways down the road and he needs more reps or whatever else there, right? I do think that this group out in San Francisco has the, what do I want to say, the New England way about them to just rip the Band-Aid off and go, you know what, we were wrong, let's trade it, and we'll take our lumps. But, you know, would they do that for a 5th or 6th round pick, for the number 3 pick of the draft, and a guy they traded away 2 other first-round picks to get? You know, that's where it gets into saving the face conversation that you're talking about, Mike. But, you know, I know enough to know that, hey, Brock Purdy, yeah, they think a lot of him. You know, whether you talk to John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan, they think the dude can play. They think he's a player, that there might not be, you know, one great, like, oh, my gosh, an unbelievable athlete, or, oh, my gosh, this is the greatest arm we've ever seen. But he's got a great feel for the game, and there's nothing on the field he can't do. They're not limited. You know, they're not going to call a 90-yard post route like Josh Allen or Mahomes or Burrow or anything like that. But that's where I think there is real love. And then, as we've discussed before, that's the kind of guy Shanahan wants in his offense. It's why I thought there's no way they'll draft Trey Lance. It'll be Mac Jones. That's the kind of guy he always had talked about. Hey, you just listen to me, take my coaching, you know, make a nice play in the pocket, change your arm angle every now and then, and damn, we'll be hard to beat. And we saw that. But, yeah, the Trey Lance thing is interesting. And, you know, of course there's talent there, Mike, but to your point there, I don't even think it's a given that he beats out Sam Darnold on a daily basis in practice. So he's got some work to do as far as becoming the starting quarterback for the 49ers, especially if Brock Purdy's healthy.
Another reason why these young quarterbacks who are in a position to make millions while in college need to be very strategic and approach the draft in a way that asks really tough questions of where they may be going. What is the offense? What is the coaching staff? What is the quarterback situation? Is there a chance I'm going to get sucked into this vortex of competition and maybe I won't get to play and maybe my career gets completely derailed by where I land and who I'm learning from and where and whether I get a chance to play? And I think we're not many years away from quarterbacks saying, don't bother. Don't bother. I got $10 million in the bank. I got $20 million in the bank from NIL money. Don't bother.
Well,
I'm not playing for your team.
I'm not saying you're crazy with that thought. You're not wrong. You're not. I'm saying what I want to say is what would have changed in this subject? Right? This was like, oh, my gosh, the 49ers want me? This team? They're going to trade to get me at number 3? They love me that much? Right? I don't give a shit how much NIL money they're going to. I think you're probably going to go, oh, you know what? I'll sign up for that one with Kyle Shanahan and that, right? So this one is weird in that sense. I understand your point. I'm just saying I don't know if it holds true on this point or this team example right here.
You know what it does, though?
Yeah.
It changes the dynamic a little bit. It gives some power to the player. I was talking to a GM over the weekend about the combine and how one of the reasons why intrusive and potentially offensive questions get asked of players is it's not like the player is going to storm out. It's not like the player isn't going to come work for you if you draft them. They don't have a choice. In a normal employment setting, if you piss off an applicant, they're going to go work for somebody else. They're going to exercise their ability to choose to go work for somebody else. So if you get to the point where the best of the best prospects in the draft have options, maybe they can have a real conversation. I mean, think about it now. It's all one-sided. It's all what can you do for us, player? How do you fit into our team, player? What do we know about your background? What do we know about who you are? What do we know about what you did in high school, what you did in college? It's not focused on gathering information the other way. What do I know about you? What commitments will you give me? What promises will you make?
Yeah.
Am I the week 1 starter if I come play for you? Are you going to, or do I have to compete with this Garoppolo guy that you paid a lot of money to, but now you seem to have fallen out of love with? Are you done with him? Are you going to trade him? What's going to happen here? I want to know where I stand. And, hey, maybe they give you a truthful answer, maybe they don't, but at least it puts you in a position to ask those questions. As it stands now, Chris, you can't ask those questions.
No,
they don't care.
right.
They'll laugh at
You're
you
right.
if you try to ask those questions.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying there, and that maybe this is where the NIL and the money will give the players a little bit more power in this situation. You're right. It's not really an open conversation. I can speak, firsthand to that. No, it's not. It's, gosh, I hope I answered this right. I hope I'm polite. Ooh, I want to ask this question, but I hope they don't take it the wrong way. You know what? I'm not even going to ask it. So it's a very real thing for sure. And maybe this, tips the scales in a certain way. It's an interesting conversation. I think we're still at the tip of the iceberg with this NIL, and the consequences and the unintended consequences, I should say, and what it does, to football, college, and the NFL both. So we'll see where it goes. But, hey, right now, Lance is there. Brock Purdy's there. Sam Darnold's there. They're a damn good football team. Trey Lance needs to play football. He's going to get reps, and he's going to have to do it against a guy in the spring that's got some talent. There's a reason he was the number 3 pick of the draft in Sam Darnold. So it's not a given that he's just going to outshine him on a daily basis. This is the first time Sam Darnold, too. Let's not forget about this guy. He's got a little talent. This will be the first time he's around an offensive coordinator and some talent where you go, whoa, they could maybe raise his level of play or the way we view him, in our eyes. We have seen Shanahan do this time and time again. So, I don't even think it's a given that Trey Lance is going to, dominate or beat out Sam Darnold with OTAs and all that. I got to see that first to believe it.
The other benefit, even if they keep all 3 guys, look at the total financial investment in the quarterback position.
Right.
You got a guy who has a slotted contract who was the last player taken in the draft.
Yeah.
Who can't even have a conversation with the team about a new contract for 2 more seasons. You've got Trey Lance at $3.7 million in base salary this year, $5.3 million next year. You got Sam Darnold they picked up at bargain basement rates relative to what we thought he would be getting on a second contract when he was the 3rd overall pick in the draft. That frees them up to give Nick Bosa a ton of money. It's one of the reasons why they're able to go out and sign Javon Hargrave. Yeah. They can make the rest of the team better around the quarterback position. And here's where it becomes interesting.
Yeah.
Because the whole Kirk Cousins thing, he's available next year.
Right.
It may be that it never happens for Kyle Shanahan and Kirk Cousins. The reunion tour never gets off the ground. 2017, he's waiting for Kirk. He passes on Pat Mahomes, doesn't even evaluate him. Patrick Mahomes. I try to say Patrick. I don't know why I said Pat. Patrick Mahomes doesn't even evaluate him because he thinks Cousins is coming the next year. Gets Jimmy Garoppolo kind of forced on him along the way. No Kirk Cousins. Now the window's opening for Kirk Cousins next year. Hey, but Brock Purdy is basically a very young version of Kirk Cousins, so we're just going to let Brock Purdy be the guy and say no thanks to Kirk Cousins. But that's the big benefit. 2 more years minimum of Brock Purdy at peanuts in compensation. And Trey Lance, relatively speaking, peanuts to what, a guy with that kind of hype and name recognition, 3rd pick in the draft, would have gotten in past years. So this is a good situation for the 49ers to be in from a cap standpoint.
Yes.
Most important position on the field, minimal chunk of the overall salary cap structure.
They might be the first. They might be the team that doesn't, Mike. I'm not even joking. They might be the team that you've talked about before. We've kind of had discussions about that just goes. We're never going to pay a quarterback $45 million. We're never going to do that. We're going to be about team. And my name's Kyle Shanahan, and I'm the best offensive game planner in the game. And I'm just going to have a good quarterback, and he'll look great because he's in my offense, and I'm going to coach him that way. They might go that route. I wouldn't be shocked. They're, to me, one of the few teams that can pull it off. We're seeing they know how to build a team, right? And we know that Shanahan can make quarterbacks that are less than make us believe that, whoa, this guy's really good. We've seen it with Nick Mullins, right? We saw Kirk Cousins have incredible years. He's really good. I don't want to, discredit him by any stretch of the imagination, but they might be this team that kind of bucks the trend and doesn't worry so much about having the, quote-unquote franchise quarterback. But, yeah, a lot of what you're talking about is going to depend on how Brock Purdy plays this year. And then Kirk Cousins, I'll certainly be keeping my eye on it, as you will. And I could even see if Kirk Cousins comes to the 49ers, I could see that if that does come that way and Brock Purdy didn't play well or he's not healthy or whatever, I don't think it's going to be like he's going to break the bank to come to the 49ers. I think the way the 49ers are set up, like you said, they're going to pay Bosa. Brandon Ayuk's coming up, right? They got a few other things they got to work out here. So they could be the first team that finally goes this route that we've talked about so much.
And you think about all the money Kirk Cousins has made over the years. He doesn't need.
No, this could be the time finally, right?
At this point,
right?
And he can prove all the haters wrong by going to a team where everything is in place for him to win a championship, even if it's not because of him.
Sure.
It's not him making the Patrick Mahomes, I got it right that time, big throw in the big spot. You just go out and run the offense.
That's
and
right.
The rest of the team is good enough that everyone, the rising tide lifts everyone to a Lombardi trophy.
And then he goes, you like that? You like that?
Yeah.
And then Florio
he
goes,
does that
yes,
with his,
I don't like that because I wanted that with the Vikings, not with the 49ers.
that will be a very interesting existence for me, a very interesting pivot. How do I feel about Kirk Cousins when he's no longer with the Vikings? Do I sit back and wait to say, I told you so? Do I actively root against him? I wish the guy well, but not too well. Not too well. And when he does you like that, he does the Peter Brady while his voice was changing.
Hey, he's still your quarterback. Stop talking like he's not there anymore. He's still your guy. Back your guy, okay? 2023, Florio and Kirk Cousins. Here we come, Minnesota Vikings.
A kid can dream. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.